Welcome to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. This is a podcast for faithful women who want healing in their relationships, guidance from God, and internal peace. Each week, you'll hear mental health concepts taught through a spiritual lens from me, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, to help you start thinking in a higher and holier way. Welcome. On this episode, we will discuss how you can sync your stress spiritually. Okay. Raise your hand if you're completely stress-free. And I can't see you, but my guess is that you didn't raise your hand. And you know how I know that? Because most women that I talk to these days are stressed out about one thing or another. And it seems like there's always something in our lives that we can look at and be stressed about, right? There really isn't a shortage of things women can stress about. And stress really is just a reaction mentally or physically to a change or a challenge. So anytime there's a change in something in your life, you can be stressed. And change can mean anything from traffic suddenly changing and getting backed up on the freeway to a major life change. Also, a challenge can mean that you see it as something that isn't easy. And there are no shortages of things daily that aren't easy. Laundry piling up, dishes needing done, kids needing to be a million different places, and not having enough arms to do it all. So in the short term, stress can actually be helpful. It makes you more alert, it gives you energy, and can actually help you get things done. But in the long term, stress can lead to very serious health problems. So women are more likely to have mental health conditions that are made worse by stress, like depression and anxiety. So the effects of stress on women can be anything from like headaches, migraines, depression and anxiety, heart problems, an upset stomach, obesity, problems getting pregnant, menstrual cycle problems, and even a decreased sex drive. It's not really a great list, if you ask me, right? But are not great to feel on a daily basis, and if there isn't a shortage of things to feel stressed about, right? And I loved when President Camille N. Johnson talked about this past conference in April. She used the analogy of each person carrying around this metaphorical backpack of burdens, or as you might call it, stress. She said this metaphorical backpack is where we carry the burdens of living in a fallen world. Our burdens are like the rocks in our backpack. And I love that she pointed out that the stress or the burdens in our life are from living in a fallen world. Not because you're not good enough, which is what a lot of women think when they start feeling stressed. And it's actually just a natural phenomenon of living in a fallen world. So she went on to say, generally, there are three kinds of rocks that are three kinds of rocks. There's the rocks of our own doing because of sin, rocks in our backpack because of poor decisions, misconduct, unkindness of others, and rocks that we carry because we're living in a fallen condition. And these can include rocks like disease, pain, chronic illness, grief, disappointment, loneliness, and the effects of natural disasters. I love how she categorized these down to three types of stresses or burdens. So I like to even make it smaller. Stresses caused by our own choices, others' choices, or opposition in our bodies or environment. So that does pretty much sum up where stress can come from in your life, right? But she did go on to say, I joyfully declare that our mortal burdens, these rocks in our figurative backpack, need not feel heavy. Jesus Christ can lighten our load. Jesus Christ can lift our burdens. Jesus Christ can provide a way for us to be relieved of the weight of sin. Jesus Christ is our relief. Yoking yourself with the Savior means you have access to his strength and redeeming power. She is talking about learning to sync your stress spiritually through Christ. And then she went on to say, So why do we insist on carrying our rocks alone? It is intended as a personal question for each of you to consider. For me, it's that age-old vice of pride. I've got this. I say, no worries, I'll get it done. It's the great deceiver who wants me to hide from God, to turn away from him, to go at it alone. I love that. So why do we insist on carrying our rocks alone? Instead, what if you could rid your mind and body of stress spiritually, but maybe not in the way that you're thinking? I agree, reading your scriptures and saying your prayers and going to the temple all bring peace. But sometimes with the amount of stress that you're under, it can feel overwhelming to even use those tools. What you really need are mental health skills taught through a spiritual lens so that you can sink that stress spiritually and then use those spiritual tools to feel God's peace in your life. And there are actually 3 ways to sink your stress spiritually using mental health tools through a spiritual lens. I'm going to tell you all 3 of them. The first one is to learn tools to calm your mind so you can make decisions simply. When you're in that chaos and clutter of your thoughts, the ability to hear that still small voice, it's next to nothing. And that clutter will take you down detours and confuse you in which direction you want to go. So remember last week's episode when I talked about decision fatigue? That comes from the clutter that's in your mind. When you can use mental health tools taught through a spiritual lens, you can learn to hear the still small voice guide you in your daily decisions. You're going to feel more confident in making decisions quickly and easily. And having faith that the Spirit is guiding you in that direction that God needs you to be going. The second way to sink your stress spiritually is to learn tools to rid your body of stress. Whenever I ask someone how they know they're stressed, they always categorize stress in 2 ways: stress in their thoughts and stress in their body. So remember a little bit ago when I told you all those effects of stress? Most of those were effects of stress on your body. So learning to rid your body of stress is really important. But one thing you might not know is that the stress you feel in your body is actually caused by the natural man inside of you. It's one of those effects of living in a fallen world with a fallen body. Also, when you're being affected by the stress in your body caused by the natural man, you're zapping your body of all the energy you need for your day. So, when you rid your body of stress, you have more energy to take care of the daily duties that you have. That kind of sounds nice, right? And then the third way that you can sink your stress spiritually is learning to tell the difference between a thought and a prompting. And that's going to save you a ton of time. So I went into this a lot more in last week's episode, but I want you to understand is that the natural man has thoughts and your true divine self has promptings. When you can learn to tell when you're in each of those states, you can save a ton of time because you'll know that every thought you're having is a prompting and you can move forward quickly and save a ton of time. So what do you think? Are you ready to learn some of those unique mental health skills through a spiritual lens? If you are, I would love for you to join my Sinking Your Stress Spiritually class. So this class is for you if you're feeling so stressed that you can't feel peace, or so distracted you can't focus, and so overwhelmed you can't think clearly. If you're a faithful woman who is feeling stressed, distracted, and overwhelmed, and you'd like to rid your mind and body of stress in less than 20 minutes without interrupting your day, then you're going to want to learn the mental health skills taught through a spiritual lens that I teach in this class. So when you join us for this 90-minute one-time class, I'm going to walk you through being able to feel peace and clarity in your thoughts to make decisions simply and have more energy and motivation to tackle your to-do list. and understand how to easily tell if you're having a thought or a prompting to save a ton of time. As soon as you register for this class, you're going to be sent an email with the workbook and the Zoom link for the class. And this class is not therapy, but it's the same type of mental health skills that I teach my therapy clients. However, they're taught with gospel terminology. It's also the same skills that I teach in my individual coaching sessions for like an 80% discount on the price. So this class is going to be held live on Monday, January 17th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time over Zoom. So you're going to meet with other women who are experiencing similar life challenges to you as well, and connecting with other women with the same beliefs and feeling validated in your circumstances. And really, that's a transformational experience in itself. But you can totally keep your camera off if you're shy, and you will have lifetime access to this recording of this class. So if you can't make it live to class, you'll have immediate access right after class to watch it when it's over. So these are the skills that will apply to any area of your life. Anytime you feel yourself becoming stressed, overwhelmed, or unfocused, come watch the replay, refresh your ability to use these skills. All right. I hope to see you in class next week. So just click the link in my show notes. You can get signed up for class today. And in fact, the best way to take this class is with a friend. So click the link, register yourself, and then send the link to a couple of your friends so that you can hold each other accountable to attend class and use the skills after. Thank you for listening to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. I hope you were able to find ways of healing, guidance, and peace. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend who would love to start thinking in a higher and holier way as well. Or hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. Also, check out the links in my show notes for other episodes you might like and links for other mental health resources on my website.